is Jonathan here to review the new science fiction thriller, Terminator Genisys. Now, when I went to this movie, I had mixed expectations at first because I'm a huge Terminator fan. I'm a very big fan of the original two films, T1 and T2, and I really did enjoy Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation. However, I didn't think that they were at the same level as the previous two films were. So when I found out that Schwarzenegger was coming back to the franchise, I was obviously very happy because he is the face of Terminator, and he kind of changed the way we look at science fiction icons today as more like a macho steroid man, but it can also be awesome and fun. So what did I get out of Terminator Genisys? Well, I felt that even though that the early critics didn't like this movie too much, I felt that this was an absolute blast. I had a ton of fun with Terminator Genisys, even though it's not a perfect movie. So first, let's go ahead and go with the pros. The pros are, number one, Arnold Schwarzenegger is awesome in this movie. It's like he never changed one bit. He just fits right back into the role of the Terminator, and he's awesome. He actually has a few really funny one-liners, and he's also able to bring a little bit more humanity to his character without completely expelling the fact that he's a machine. And I felt that the way they contrasted that was done very well. Also, the action set pieces in this movie are spectacular for the most part. I heard some people didn't like the action. I don't know what they were talking about because this movie has a very diverse range of different things that are going on. However, the marketing did spoil a lot of these major action scenes, but especially there's one fight scene at the end that just blew me away just in terms of visually and the way it was choreographed. It was just awesome. And even though I kind of wish that there was more of that wow factor throughout the movie, I still felt that overall the action scenes were extremely well done and that they were very exhilarating. Now, the last thing that I really enjoyed about Terminator Genisys was that it's very faithful to the original films, and I can't really tell you what that is without spoiling it, so I'm not going to put it this way. They play off a lot of the key points in Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, but put their own spin on it, and it just is really cool and added to the overall Terminator experience. Now, unfortunately, there were a few drawbacks to the film. Mainly, at least in my opinion, were the characters. So basically, you have the two lead characters are played by Jai Courtney, played in some recent films like Unbroken and Jack Reacher, and then you also have this Game of Thrones chick. I'm going to throw her head back here. So mainly I had a problem with her character, mainly because I felt that she was very whiny and that she was overacting, and even though that she had her badass moments, that she was just out of place in this movie and didn't fit the same Sarah Connor that was in Terminator 2. However, as the film progressed, I found myself warming up to her character, and I felt that her acting eased up, as well as Jai Courtney, which I thought initially was very stone and just monotone as usually is. But as the movie went on, I felt like his character evolved to be a little bit more comfortable, and I was more or less happy with the way the characters rounded out towards the end of the film. Now, of course, the one thing that shouldn't be an issue in a Terminator movie is the special effects, and I'd say for a good 80% of this movie has some spectacular visuals going for it, especially with some other key characters that have some very cool visual gimmicks to them, which I'm not going to spoil it, but if you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. I'm impressed by some of the visual set pieces that they had. I mean, they had some really cool wide shots when it really came down to it, and they had a lot of close-ups on some of the Terminator models. I was a little bit like, okay, that really looks fake, and I'm like, come on. If Terminator Salvation had better special effects for Terminators, then 2015 you should be able to do better, but they kind of messed up on that. This movie also uses a lot of special effects, and the thing that really made Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, and even some aspects of 3 and 4, somewhat memorable, where they all had great practical effects, and you could really tell that people were holding like a tangible metallic skull in their hand, or they were actually in a computer lab. It just looked really cool. In this movie, I felt that a lot of it was shot behind a green screen and just kind of lacked some of the tangibility that those previous films had. My final issue with the movie is that the story takes a while to get going. I'd say this movie has a really big identity crisis for the first half an hour. It really doesn't know where it's going. I feel like it's going in this direction, but then it goes here, 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 here. And it wasn't tonally inconsistent. That wasn't the issue of this movie. But it was more or less that it couldn't really find its footing, and I wasn't sure if it had a certain theme until past that 30-minute mark. And once then, it didn't stop, and it ended up just being a really fun thrill ride with some interesting story elements, even though they weren't quite as heart-wrenching or developed as Terminator 1 or Terminator 2. So overall, I had a blast with Terminator Genisys. The story was a little iffy for the first half an hour. Some of the visuals were a little off, but for the most part, they were fantastic. Arnold Schwarzenegger was great as always. However, the supporting cast around that just didn't really do it that much for me personally. But despite those flaws, I thought this movie had some great action and was very faithful to the original. It was just overall a very fun movie to watch at the theater. And I was very pleased as a Terminator fan, and I would really like this movie to make some money because I'm very interested in seeing where they plan on taking the franchise next. So I'm going to go ahead and award Terminator Genisys a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely recommend that you check this one out. So how'd you like our review? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Make sure to let us know in the comments. Also, like this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Stubmasters, and you can buy some really cool Stubmasters merchandise, like our shirts. We actually have a new design coming in, and with the new logo that you saw earlier in this video. And you can get all that stuff at cafepress.com/Stubmasters. I'm Jonathan from Stubmasters Reviews. Have an excellent day.